They can wear a jacket.
Anytime I saw him, anytime it was never burned, I'm not burning. Then they would do it at the bar. We would all go out for beer after the show.
Yeah, it's been
Yes, please. Yeah, let me introduce you to Dan Davis here. This is Mark Wetherbee from...
So we'll do this standing up.
Has he? He has.
And move down if you would a bit. We'll do this standing up. All of us together. We'll squeeze in. We'll squeeze in. Okay, can we start? Well, thank you all for coming. For us, this is something very, very personal. We have talked with our friends, people we never had met before at home, and we've heard their stories. And now there are 1,600,000 people, and you all who are here today, all of you represent the 1.6 million long-term unemployed who as of December 28 and thereafter have been out in the cold. So for us, we're absolutely determined that this has to happen. As I said earlier today, I think this is a moral American imperative. So I will introduce Josie Maisano, and then in this order, and as I mentioned, I'm not sure who put it together. We don't care about seniority. We're all in the same boat. So Mark will go next, and then Representative Alan Lowenthal, Michelle Lujan Grisham, Danny Davis, Steve Horsford, Joe Courtney, Rush Holt, and Eleanor, if she's able to make it. So you'll just take over in that order. For us, this is an important moment that we hope will essentially turn the tables on this inaction to date in this institution. So Mark, take over.
Is Josie here?
Oh, Josie, that's right. Josie, you're going to come first, and then Mark, you'll take over.
Hi, my name's Josie Maisano. I'm from St. Clair Shores, Michigan, and I wrote a little something, if you wouldn't mind me reading. At age 60, I should be looking forward to the retirement train. Instead, I am currently unemployed after more than 40 years in working in the automotive industry. I was laid off during the recession, so I decided to go back to school to reinvent myself. After a year-long program, I received a certificate as a legal secretary, but had no luck in obtaining a job in that field. So I took a job with a mortgage company that lasted 8 months before I was laid off yet again. I have been unemployed since May of 2013 and have not been able to find a job. When filling out applications, I'm asked what year I graduated in. That's how employers know how old you are, so I guess I should lie, because who's going to hire a 60-year-old when there are at least 20 other younger applicants? I spend all day on the computer applying to jobs, and I assure you, looking for a job is a full-time job in itself. I am now 2 months behind on my mortgage payments. I send utility companies partial payments. I am beyond being depressed, disillusioned, and disgusted. I am so afraid of becoming homeless, and I know I am this close to that actually happening. At least with my unemployment insurance coming in, I was able to sustain some semblance of normalcy. But now that has been taken away abruptly at the end of the year. I don't know what to do anymore. I feel like I'm running out of options. I pray that our elected officials will pass the unemployment extension, but it hasn't happened. I have worked since the age of 14. I did not choose to become unemployed. My jobs have been ripped away because of the economic crisis that has lasted all too long. This little choo-choo still has a lot of steam left to do a good job for any employer willing to give me a chance. Therefore, I am urging the federal government to step up to the plate to protect all of us who are searching so desperately for a job and who are one step away from total poverty.
Well, as Sandy said, 1.6 million people have lost their benefits, 72,000 more every week. In Wisconsin, my home state, that's 1,600 people a week who are losing their benefits. It's one thing to talk about those numbers. It's another thing to actually put a human face on it, and that's why I'm really proud to have, from my district, a father of 2 teenage children from Mount Horeb, Wisconsin. He lost his job in June, and in December, he was supposed to start getting the emergency UI benefits and got a notice right before Christmas that he wasn't going to get those. And I'd like to introduce Brian Krueger from Mount Horeb, Wisconsin.
Hi. Merry Christmas. That was the first thing I said to my wife when I presented her with the letter saying that our unemployment benefits were not going to be around anymore. So instead of enjoying Christmas with my family, my wife and I were sitting down with a yellow sheet of paper, figuring out who we could pay with what we had coming in. And when you look at what we had to pay and what was coming in, it wasn't adding up. We have our house on the market. We're trying not to go into foreclosure. We want to do the right thing. We want to pay what we owe. That's what all Americans do. If you owe somebody something, then you pay. And that's what we try to do with our kids also. If you say you're going to do something, then you do it. Well, it's not happening now. There are more people out there like me than people realize. I just happened to come forward, and Mark was great enough to let me come here and tell my story. My neighbors, it's not something that you want to go out and publicize. I'm hard up. I need help. But I want to do it on my own. That money isn't just something that is a luxury for us. It's helping us get by. It's providing the money that we can pay our cell phone. It's so we can get that potential caller from the employer. It's paying for the gas so that I can put into my vehicle and I can go to the interview. It's paying for the utility bill so that when I left this morning, the wind chill, I believe, was 30 degrees below zero. It's paying that to keep my kids warm. And what's happening now is not so much hurting me, but I'm afraid of what it's happening to my kids. They're affecting me in that way. I'm trying to keep them normal, trying to sense of normalcy, and it's getting harder every day. I don't know what we're going to do if this doesn't happen, if we don't continue. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Mark. I too, again, it's worth repeating, 1.6 million people have lost their long-term unemployment insurance. 72,000 a week are being added to it. The numbers are staggering and continue to grow. And these are people with lives, with stories to tell, that it's really important that the nation hears who they are. So what I did was, come on up. I brought someone, and I'm going to tell her story. Alexandria Jamieson, who's from my community, from Los Alamitos, California. And when I learned about her story. I asked her to come, but she said, will you please, I'll stand with you, but it is so difficult for me. I'm not an elected official. I'd rather have you tell my story with me. So I've asked Alexandria to come. She's my guest tonight at the State of the Union. And she spent her entire adult life, which is more than 20 years now, as a civil engineer, almost exclusively working on water delivery and water treatment projects. Her career has been spent literally to make sure that everybody else has clean water to drink, that she, that's what she's done. She was let go as a project manager after working for the firm for more than 8 years. She was let go. It was a few years ago now that she was let go, and it was from one of the nation's largest civil engineering firms. It's hard to believe that a person like Alexandria, highly skilled, hardworking, great record, who has double degrees in ocean and civil engineering and over 20 years of experience, can't find work. The last few years, she's applied for literally hundreds of jobs in cities across the nation. Never told that she's too old, but that's the message. Too well trained, there's somebody younger than you, you're highly skilled. We don't want somebody that's highly skilled. We want entry level people. But this is not about Alexandria, because Alexandria will not benefit from the extension of unemployment insurance. That has already run out for her. She is now had to move home, to live with her mother. She's been relying on savings that she had built up to help her mother over these years. She's now dipped into whatever retirement savings that she has left, worries about, about losing her home. But she's just one story among the millions. I'm pleased to be here to share this story. That's why we're all here. That's why we fight. And that's why we must do something right now about extending unemployment insurance. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm Representative Danny Davis from Chicago, Illinois. And first of all, I want to applaud the leadership of the ranking member of the Ways and Means Committee and our leader on this issue, Sandy Levin from Michigan. I'm pleased to introduce Wessita McKinley. Ms. McKinley is a veteran of the United States Air Force who has worked to support herself since she was 12 years old. Wessita is a single parent to a 20-year-old daughter. In June 2013, Wessita was laid off her job as a records clerk for a local school board. Despite enrolling in a job training program, despite applying for about 100 jobs a week, despite having strong professional skills as a community outreach coordinator, case manager, research analyst, program auditor, and director of a nonprofit, Wessita remains unemployed. Without unemployment assistance, Wessita cannot afford her daughter's college or basic necessities such as rent, food, or utilities. Wessita is like more than 90,000 Illinoisans and 1.6 million Americans who also have lost their unemployment assistance since December 28th. These Americans endure the same struggle to find employment while facing impossible choices daily on how to survive. I meet these individuals every day. I see the daily nightmares they live. What kind of government do we have, and what kind of economy do we have if in the midst of such wealth, these people stand outcast and abandoned? Our failure to act is shameful. Congress must immediately extend unemployment benefits. It's the right thing to do. It's the American thing to do. Wessita?
Good afternoon. I stand before you, and through the grace of God, I'm used as a vessel to not only speak for myself, but to also speak for the 1.6 million individuals who are without any income at all. This is a serious crisis in America. People are getting put out, evicted from their apartments, foreclosed on their homes, unable to pay their car notes. Their insurance is going in lapse. They're unable to drive. People cannot pay their heating bills. People cannot buy food, and people cannot afford medication. All of this is a result of the ending of the unemployment insurance. This is a serious crisis in America. It's time for Congress and politicians to truly do the humane thing. The Bible teaches us, you do unto others as you would want others to do unto you. We are also taught through the Bible that I am my brother's keeper. So if we're to be a strong country, remain a strong country, we must unify and do the right thing by the American people. We did not ask to lose our jobs. We have done the right things, majority of us, from the time that we were youth working summer jobs. We have paid our taxes. We have obtained necessary education to get a good job. We have voted, done the American thing, and voted to put these politicians in the positions in which they hold today. So I don't think it's too much to ask the politicians to give back, render unto the American people the service we have given to America. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. I'm Stephen Horsford from Nevada's 4th Congressional District, and I'd also like to thank our ranking member, Mr. Levin, and the other members and colleagues who are here for standing up and fighting as strong voices to expand unemployment insurance and to get our economy moving again. But the most important people that are here today are our guests. They are the reason that we are focused on expanding unemployment insurance for 1.6 million Americans, some 20,000 Nevadans in my home state of Nevada that still has, in my state, an unemployment rate that's hovering around 9%, the highest in the nation, tied with Rhode Island. And, you know, to me, either there are members in Congress who don't know, or there are members in Congress who don't care that 1.6 million of our friends, neighbors, and colleagues are without unemployment insurance today. Well, today we are here to let them know that this is the America that we're fighting for, that our constituents matter, and that there are faces behind the numbers. I'm pleased to introduce my guest, Tamika Woods, who is from Las Vegas. She is a non-traditional worker. She is an electrical worker. And because of the hard impact that the recession had on the construction industry, which was our #2 industry in Nevada, we had people moving to our state to build houses for the construction workers during the boom. But now, during the bust, they cannot find work. And so it's people like Tamika who are here to ask members of Congress, do you understand what it is like day after day, week after week, to go and look for work? Do you understand that the unemployment insurance benefits are used as a bridge to pay for their rent and their bills and to put gas in the car so that they can go on an interview? I'm pleased to have her come up, and thank you to you and all the guests who are here for putting a face on the 1.6 million Americans who this issue affects. Tamika Woods.
Wow. I wrote some notes down, and as a member of local IBW 357 in Las Vegas, Nevada, I worked on a lot of different projects, Nevada Test Site, MGM Grand to power plants, and I can safely say I know how to work, just a little bit. So, but work now is so unsteady, and the only thing that is sustaining me at this point is unemployment. I have to pick what necessities are important to my survival at this point. And I have to decide what bills to pay, what bills not to pay. I used to have great credit, not anymore, but I know it's a process, and I believe that we can go towards something greater if we work together. And all I can think about is things get cut off as far as our unemployment insurance. It's going to get worse. And if it gets worse, then where is that going to place me? Literally in 2 weeks, I'm all out of my maximum benefit with unemployment. So I have to move quickly on decisions that I have to make for my well-being. I'm a hard worker. I take care of my mother, and I'm just at a point where I don't know where I'm going to go next. I am a 13-year veteran of electrical work, union electrician. And with the markets changing like it did in Nevada, it affected us quite a bit. So I'm so happy to be here today, and I'm happy to have a voice, and I'm so thankful and appreciative that Congressman Horsford is an advocate for working families, and you are so appreciated.
Although, you're going to have to fix this. Maybe I should have been the last one. Good afternoon. I'm really honored to be amongst these incredible advocates. My colleagues are fantastic, and the courage that our guests have to share their very real, very personal, and tragic stories, all because we are failing to extend benefits, that we have the power to reverse this problem in a swift movement on the House of Representatives. So I'm going to give you a couple other numbers. It's 7,500 New Mexicans. It's 400 New Mexicans every week. Like many states, including Nevada and New Mexico, the trades, we haven't had any construction. That industry and infrastructure, which is vital in New Mexico, is gone. And that's devastated families and devastated folks whose careers are in infrastructure building and the trades. And I'm really honored to bring someone who understands the value of that work, whose courage today to be here and to talk to each and every one of you about what's really going on and how important these benefits are, but who also, and if he doesn't do it, I'm going to do it for him, remind folks that for every dollar that this group has all paid for, it's $1.50 on average that goes right back into the economy, and it's actually more jobs for other folks. And without these benefits, their stories, we expand those stories to other folks who then have the very same situations. And so I'm really proud to introduce a fellow New Mexican, fellow native New Mexican, Albuquerquean, Coby Messier, and he's going to share his story, and I'm so grateful that he took the time to be with us today. Coby? There you are.
Hello, my name is Coby Messier. I have been a sheet metal worker for the last 14 years. Times were very good until February of 2013 when I was actually handed my first layoff ever. Since then, pretty much I've been on unemployment, and with the help of my wife, who is a school teacher, we all know how much they make. We have been, month to month, paycheck to paycheck. Friends, family, we're all in the same boat. I have friends who are going to lose this in February. No reason to even try to sign an extension because there is no extension. My extension ran out, along with the rest of these people, on the 28th. And pretty much trying to, maybe start my own business to make ends meet. The one thing that I do ask, I really have no political party, Democratic, Republican, what have you. This is no longer about that. This is about Congress coming together as Americans to help out the 1.6 million people who need this. For me, my nest egg is cracked, and it's gonna run out very quickly. This is something that needs to be addressed, and needs to be addressed very, very soon. I think that this is a great opportunity, and thank you so much for inviting me out here to be able to speak on behalf of the New Mexicans who are slowly, the numbers rising day by day. So please, Congress, come together and let's come together as Americans and get this passed, please. Thank you.
Nice job, Coby. Thank you, Sandy, for organizing this event today. It's clear that the only way this is going to change and we're going to get movement is bring external pressure to this institution and to all the people who came today from all corners of America. That is the external pressure that is going to eventually break through. Again, what they're asking for is something that in past recessions has been automatic and has not been partisan, whether it's been Republican or Democratic administrations. Our next speaker is somebody that some of you may recognize because she was in Washington a few weeks back at the White House talking again about this issue. Katherine Hackett from Moodus, Connecticut, who was a military mom and was laid off last spring. Unfortunately, we didn't get this resolved since her last visit, but she's going to keep coming and keep talking until we break through with that external pressure and get this extension passed. So, Katherine, thank you again for coming to Washington.
Hi, my name is Katherine Hackett. I'm a nursing home administrator. For the past 17 years, that's my job, is to take care of the elderly and make sure they have the care and services that they need. I was fortunate to be able to come to Washington and tell my story. But what I want you to know is when I went home, my answering machine was chock full from people all over the United States who have similar situations. And since that time, I can't even answer my phone. I have to let it go to voicemail. But the stories are awful. They're way worse than I have it at this point. And I think we all need to understand that these are professional people that through no choice of their own are not working, but they want to work. That if I could tell you a message, it is that we want to be vital people. We want to be out there using our skills just like the rest of you. For us to sit home, we feel is wasted time. So I really hope that Congress moves on this. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Rush Holt. I represent the people of Central New Jersey, and among those people whom I represent is Mark Wetherbee, who is a pillar of his community. He's a two-time Vietnam veteran, two-tour veteran, a community leader with service organizations and municipal advisory committees. He's been laid off from his job as a building facilities manager. And I want him to add his voice to these very articulate, moving stories that you've heard so far of fine Americans who have been contributing to their country for years. And they want to contribute economically as well. Now, we could have many more like them. In fact, just with the people in New Jersey who have lost their jobs since, or lost their extended unemployment benefits since December, we could fill the Super Bowl stadium and the entire infield, the entire field. So we could be here for a long time hearing all of these individual stories. Now, I've invited Mark here today, as outstanding as he is, not because he's unusual, but because he is not unusual. 90,000 New Jerseyans, and another 90,000 to join them over the next 6 months if we don't fix this. You know, it's callous and it's foolish, because this is not a giveaway. This is what our society and our economy for decades and decades has done to help people keep body and soul together so that they can get back to being constructive participants in our economy. And that's all we're asking. It's foolish not to do it. In New Jersey, everybody's talking about the boost to our economy that will come from all the guests who come for one weekend for the Super Bowl. Think how much more we would benefit if all those 90,000 people were receiving their benefits and were able to get a job. Think how much more Our economy would benefit if we keep our economy working by getting people back to work. Mark?
Thank you, Representative Holt, for inviting me to this wonderful, wonderful event. This is absolutely beautiful. Again, I'm Mark Wetherbee. I was a facilities manager for the large banking industry for about 25 years or so. Ended up in 2008 when there was a crash and found my way into another business and then still back into another job. The bottom line is I am an active community leader. I volunteer a lot. And for instance, I chair the Energy Committee from the Ewing Township, which is a New Jersey, Central Jersey Green Team for Sustainable Jersey, which we saved a lot of money for our township. I am a past president, and I work for the Ewing Kiwanis, which is, by the way, working on the Eliminate program for the global industries. I do have a lot of volunteer work. I volunteer for the ARC of Mercer and the Homefront, which is a place that does work for the homeless and the needy. What I want to do is to be able to continue to contribute to my family, my life, and my community in that manner. The thing that is most important these days is we all need to have a self-worth. And the thing that is really hurting me right now is trying to find a job. It's unbelievably difficult. And now you can't even walk, it's difficult to do this. You can't even walk into an employment office or an HR office and say, "Hi, I'd like to give you my resume." I was actually thrown out by security in one building at the Princeton office park. So the other thing is the internet is, again, what used to be 3 or 4 or 5 resumes on the desk for an open position is now 3 or 4 or 5,000. And it's getting more and more difficult to do that. I have applied for 207 applications in the 13 weeks I've been unemployed. I've had 1 interview. Almost no response either to most of those applications. And I have to say that this is an important thing to the communities of the of the United States and to our families and neighbors, to be able to help those of us that I will lose my unemployment in April. Then what? And by the way, the unemployment is helping me find a job. It's putting gasoline in my car, because what I do is in the morning, after I've done my job search on the internet, I get in the car and I go knock on doors. I go, "Where's your facilities office? Where's your property management office?" And I go in, I just drop resumes. And they're taking them. Then some people give me some support. Others just turn their head. So it's really important to help support these people that need it, so they can continue to look for work and hopefully get work. Thank you all for attending, and thank you all for your time. Thank you, Representative Holt. Thank you.
I'm going to ask Mindy Hill to come and stand with me, because I want you to see the young face of the long-term unemployed. We know that many who graduate from college the way Mindy did will find themselves unemployed, but the notion of having young people, and Mindy Hill is 29 years old, a graduate of the University of the District of Columbia, who already is counted among the long-term unemployed. And Mindy has worked for a number of contractors, like many in my own region and increasingly throughout the United States. These young people are not old school working for somebody who doesn't give them a pension for the rest of their lives. They work for contractors. And she is laid off, as they regularly do, from one of those contracting jobs. I want to stress that employers finding themselves with a surplus of workers have now taken to hiring, giving a preference for the most recently unemployed, regardless of skill, regardless of age. You should note that we think of long-term unemployed normally as people who perhaps don't have a lot of skills and they have a tough time in the job market. What is really interesting about today's long-term unemployed is many of them look like the very Americans you've just heard from, all of them with skills. I am very pleased that my own district, the District of Columbia, seeing this discrimination, has passed a law making it unlawful or making it a discriminatory act to refuse to hire someone based on their employment history. Now, we know that is not a remedy for unemployment, but it does tell you just how serious this has gotten, and there are a number of other jurisdictions where this kind of legislation is pending as I speak. I'm also pleased that the President will announce tonight that a number of large companies have pledged to hire long-term unemployed people. In my own district, we have seen the unemployment rate drop, and we're pleased that we're down to 8.1%. It's not a very normal unemployment rate, but it is the lowest since 2008. But look at the long-term unemployment rate. That has stagnated. Last month, before the expiration, I introduced a bill that would allow employers a tax credit against their payroll tax liability if they hired a long-term unemployed person. The most immediate remedy, the one we want now, is extension of unemployment insurance. But we have got to consider these fights that we're having to make. We are in for another bout like this unless we come forward with legislation that will actually encourage employers, give them an incentive to hire long-term unemployed Americans. And I'm going to ask Mindy Hill to speak for herself and her generation.
Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Mindy Hill, and I'm a DC resident. I'm also a graduate of the University of the District of Columbia. I'm also one of the faces of UDC. Right now, I'm just don't know what to do. If I should wake up and keep a smile on my face or keep it, or what. I lost a job that I had, a contract job I had for 5 days because of a contract issue. And since those 5 days, I've been unemployed since then. I'm not a marginally attached worker. I'm a willing worker. I've been seeking employment. I don't understand this, and it's really hard because right now I'm a domicile parent. I have joint custody of my niece, and every morning my niece asks me, Mindy, where are you going to work? I went to a meeting the other day, and she's, oh, well, you're dressed like a businesswoman. So, I just wish that, I am a businesswoman. I wish I can put that suit on and go to a job and earn, an income. And right now, I'm constantly just getting notices from the bank of insufficient funds. My unemployment did help. I actually utilized the unemployment to help start my own news show, just to in hopes that, hey, I can get some job somewhere. But I have yet to have that happen. And now that the benefit is cut, I'm really thankful I live with my mother. And I'm really great that I live with her, because if not, I would really be in a worse off situation than what I'm in right now. So I really hope Congress can really understand where we're coming from. This is the reality. This is not perception here. This is what's really going on. People are hurting. We are really hurting here. Thank you.
Well, you've heard from 8 of us, and most importantly, from 8 people, 9 people, 10 people who have lost their federal benefits. I just want to say your stories give us hope, give us a motion and provide us determination. There's no alternative but for unemployment compensation to be extended. There's no alternative, and we are never going to stop fighting for 1 minute until it happens. So let's leave it at that. And if any of you want to interview anybody here, just do so.
Really good job.
Thank you.